Convicted felon Donald Trump was just outed as a gay bottom. I did not see that one coming. Get your copy of Red Hats, a pocket guidebook listing over 1,000 companies that support the convicted felon Donald Trump, along with Make Lying Wrong Again hats and pins, stickers, and digital downloads at ProfessorPride.com. Back in 2019, we reported on an article published in a scientific journal that studied homophobia. Researchers concluded that the more homophobic a person is commenting online or in person, the more of a chance they are gay themselves. And for 8 years now, hosting an accredited LGBTQ education show with nearly 15 million viewers worldwide, I found this to be true in my own experience too. Many of the worst homophobic comments on our channel came back years later and told me they're coming out as gay after years of treating the community so poorly. We also covered Donald Trump's homophobia for years now too, including his belief that gay people should not be allowed to marry, his 350 plus homophobic actions during his first presidential term, and his blueprint for a second term called Project 2025, which had a heavy focus stripping fundamental rights away from gay people for about a quarter of its 920 pages. But never in a million years did we expect those two worlds, reporting on closeted gay homophobes and Donald Trump, would meet, let alone with irrefutable evidence to prove it. That was until this week, when the U.S. House of Representatives Democrats released over 20,000 emails sent and received by the convicted child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, who died in 2019. There are three major takeaways from these documents so far that we need to discuss right now. First is that Epstein hated Donald Trump. While Trump often says Epstein was a, quote, terrific guy, Jeffrey Epstein didn't feel the same way about Donald. It was very much a one-way relationship. In hundreds of these emails Jeffrey sent to his friends, coworkers, and political contacts, Epstein claims Trump is a terrible person. Think about that for just a moment. Jeffrey Epstein, a man convicted of trafficking children for sexual relationships with his clients and himself, says Donald Trump is a terrible person. In his emails, Epstein said, quote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump. Not one decent cell in his body, so yes, dangerous." In another email, Epstein said, quote, "He feels alone and is nuts," with 3 exclamation points. "I told everyone from day one, evil beyond belief, mad, and most thought I was speaking metaphorically. It's obvious he could crack. Stormy Daniels, ? Lies after lies after lies." In yet another email, Epstein says, quote, "Your world does not understand how dumb he really is. He will blame everyone around him." And in 2019, just before Epstein died, one of Epstein's friends met with Donald Trump, and Epstein responded saying, quote, "See if you still have your wallet." It is appalling how much of what Epstein talked about in private emails was true. Trump does seem to feel alone, nuts, evil beyond belief, mad, lies all the time, he's dumb beyond belief, he blames everyone around him rather than ever taking responsibility for his own actions, and he steals billions of dollars from taxpayers and foreign governments while claiming to help the middle class. I want to be very clear, Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of absolutely horrendous crimes, and no reasonable person should ever call him a terrific guy, even though Donald Trump did multiple times. But in these specific emails, I find myself agreeing with him that Trump is dangerous and dumb. The second part we have to talk about is that Trump was likely a client of Epstein's trafficking business. Recently, I've been reading this book called Nobody's Girl by Virginia Giuffre, who was one of Epstein's victims and ended her own life right before the book was published earlier this year. In it, she references many of Epstein's clients and horrendous things I'm sure we'll cover in a future episode. As you can see, I have many notes I want to cover about this book. It was horrifying at some parts, but also just, I didn't want to put it down because I was learning so much of what was happening behind the scenes under all of our noses. So I highly recommend this book. We'll definitely be covering this in a future episode. But even though I'm about 3/4 of the way through this book so far, she doesn't say specifically that Trump was someone who did bad things to her. We know that Virginia worked at Mar-a-Lago for Trump, and Epstein poached her as an employee, which Trump was apparently so mad about that he claims to have broken all ties with Epstein over this one girl. But until now, we believed Donald Trump that he broke all ties after this incident. Not only do these emails now show a pattern of Trump being friends with Epstein long after Trump claims to have broken all ties with him, but Epstein says in one of his emails that Trump, quote, spent hours with Virginia, pointing to Trump having assaulted Virginia too. Finally, and most shocking of all, is the apparent gay relationship Trump had going on while all of this was happening. Yes, we know Trump said he would have sex with his own daughter if given the chance. We know, thanks to convictions in courts of law, that he raped women and sexually assaulted many more. We know from Stormy Daniels that Trump has a micropenis. But until now, we never knew Trump apparently had a gay relationship on the side. On March 19th, 2018, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark, asked Jeffrey how he was doing. It was innocent conversation at first. In the email exchange, Jeffrey says that Steve Bannon, one of Trump's closest allies and part of his administration for some time there, was currently with Jeffrey Epstein. Mark then asked Steve Bannon if Putin, the dictator of Russia, has photos of Trump giving oral sex to Bubba, a common nickname for former President Bill Clinton. Okay, so what if there is a private email chain pointing to Donald Trump giving Bill Clinton oral sex? Well, not only would that explain why Trump was so upset when he ran against Hillary Clinton in 2016, and why Trump was so focused on her emails because he wondered if he was in those emails too. It also points to a very strange part of Donald Trump's 2016 campaign to be president. If you remember correctly, he was talking a lot at the time about Bill Clinton getting oral sex from Monica Lewinsky in the White House. That was one of his main arguments for why Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton's wife, should not be president over him. But was this truly all about Bill Clinton getting something in the White House? Or was this just Donald Trump's way to act jealous that he didn't have Bill Clinton's dick all to himself? But I know Republicans will say this was only a joke between two brothers. There is no way their homophobe in chief is a closeted gay guy who gives oral sex to other men. There's no way that happened, right? Well, I guess that's why later this week, Russia leaked images of Donald Trump groping Bill Clinton and grabbing his penis at public parties. See, Trump may have grabbed women by their meow parts and bragged about it on a bus. His homophobic fans might have loved Trump for being a sexist womanizer, but he was an equal opportunity sexual abuser. He liked to grab men too, and from the pictures that we've seen, Trump seems to have enjoyed grabbing men by their private areas too. And just for the record, there is nothing wrong with Donald Trump being gay and enjoying giving men oral sex. Who among us hasn't enjoyed giving or receiving those things with our partners? What I take issue with is why he fights so hard to take the rights away from other gay men like himself. Why fight so hard to stop us from getting married, adopting kids, and why make plans in Project 2025 to put us all in concentration camps when Donald Trump is gay too? It's maddening. I do hope this is the start of transparency. We deserve to know every detail in the Epstein files, not just his emails. But just for a moment, take a step back. Take a breath of fresh air knowing you're not alone in how you feel. Sure, hundreds of millions of people around the world feel Donald Trump is dumb, dangerous, and an abusive grifter. We know for a fact he's a convicted rapist and convicted felon. But before this week, we didn't know Donald Trump's best friend in the whole world felt the same way too. And while Trump has already claimed these emails are fake and the photos are fake too, it's both reassuring and terrifying at the same time that an evil and vile human like Jeffrey Epstein thought not only was Trump evil too, but Trump was the most evil person he's ever met. Get everything you need to protest the felon-in-chief at ProfessorPride.com. Be sure to like this video, share it with others, and click on this video to continue enjoying Powered by Rainbows.